Hello and welcome to the Leverage Podcast. I'm Paul Richard, your host. And today we have Shawn Cooper from Squeezy, very special guest with us today with his location here in Branson. Shawn, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Awesome. I've had the opportunity to be at your location here in Branson, really enjoyed it. And we had some meetings there, etc. You've been super accommodating and love the variety of options that you have there. Tell us a little bit about the background, your background, and then lead us into how you got started in this business and then how you brought it into the Branson marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, my name is Shawn Cooper, for all of you guys listening, and I own Squeezy. It's right here in Branson. And so the journey actually begins a couple years ago, way back when I was a young 20-something-year-old. Long story short, I had gained quite a bit of weight in college, and it was time for me to start making some changes to my diet and my exercise. And through those changes, I saw some things and I learned some things and I got involved with some really amazing people. And that sort of birthed this idea for us to create a space that people could become better. And so the motto for Squeezy is actually people loving people through health and fitness. And that really speaks to the heart of what this thing is. And so, first of all, loving people is the goal, health and fitness is the vehicle, right? And so we came to this market after I had worked in Arkansas with similar businesses and grown, and it was time to expand and start to do things a little bit bigger and better, as we would say. And we came here in 2022, myself and my girlfriend, and uh, over the course of about a month, from August to September, we got open and we worked really, really incredibly hard to make the space vibrant and fun and cool and exciting. And so we offer shakes with protein and we offer energy teas and that sort of thing. And it's been a really fun and exciting journey to get to see people learn, grow, and kind of take control of their health and feel a little bit of love in a third space, you know?
Sure.
But that kind of gets us started on this journey, and that kind of leads us to where we are now, where we're constantly trying to give back to our community and love on people, create spaces where people can gather and do things that are actually important, like relate to each other.
That's awesome. So I love the holistic approach that you have to it and the heart that's behind it. And so in 2022, we're just seems like we're just coming out of COVID, right? At that point. And so that was a big risk for you guys doing that, right? It seems like so talk a little bit about that. What did you see before and COVID hit and then you brought that business and moved it right post COVID, I guess. What did you see that happening to the business community number one and you in particular as you brought that out?
Well, to be completely honest, the world sort of shuttered at that time. And so COVID was absolutely insane. And for many owners, you guys know that it was just such a difficult time. What I saw in coming to Branson, though, was, and like this is maybe a little personal, but my father lives here in Missouri, and it was time. It was time for me to get out of the area that I was in. It was time to grow. It was time to become a little bit more. The stars sort of aligned. A lot of things happened that, by the grace of God, couldn't have happened any other way. And so the really interesting thing is when we got here to Branson, I didn't know what to expect. I was honestly taking a massive risk, and I was perfectly willing to fail. I wouldn't say that very often. I wouldn't lead with that, but you have to sort of accept that that's a possibility. And when we came here, the most peculiar thing happened. I met a lot of really good people really quickly. And so one of my favorite things to say about this area is I get to talk good about people behind their back, you know? But what we saw more than anything was this sort of longing for a space to be constantly and consistently. Whenever whenever I'm doing business, I find that there are so many people who are just looking for a space that they can come to and actually feel welcome. And one of the things that is easy to see is that there is constantly a need. There's a constant need in our society for people to have a space where they can feel loved, valued, and cherished. And so that's what I saw in business. I saw that I could serve people a shake that had a bunch of protein in it and tasted good, and that they would hang out, and that they'd linger, and that they'd tell me about their lives. And so in that capacity, business became very much personal, you know? Now, the market itself was a little difficult to break into at first because I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anything about this area. I didn't know how people would receive me, and I was curious to see if coming to Missouri, things would be a little bit less tolerant, I guess, which gratefully it hasn't been. um, there were a lot of instances in which I was just kind of walking around, feeling my way through and trying to develop relationships with people. And because there's such a high caliber and quality of people in this area, it became very easy.
That's really, really great. And I'm curious, when you started, you said you were in Arkansas. What area of Arkansas were you in at that
I
point?
was in Hot Springs.
Hot Springs. Okay. All right. And so when you started this and you had the vision for it, and you mentioned your motivation to lose weight and offer people those things, what did you do? Did you like get a food truck and start, or how did you really, I mean, I'm just curious, how did you begin the process of even conceiving where this has gone?
So, really interesting. Me and a couple of buddies. So, I was in college and I kind of majored in partying and being a knucklehead for a bit there. And I was working at Cracker Barrel, and one of my buddies came up with the idea that he wanted to do this sort of concept. And so, me and a couple other friends, we literally took all of our monies and we put it in a big fund and we opened up our first location. And as a bunch of know nothing 20-something-year-old cats, we made every bad decision you could imagine. I mean, it was terrible to be completely honest. But this beautiful thing happened is that when we all put in together, we were able to lean on each other's strengths. And so this is like a core concept, and maybe there are some future entrepreneurs looking at this, and I would say to those people, "Hey guys, you don't do things in a vacuum." Like there's a lot of people who say things like, "Oh, I'm so independent and this and that." And to be completely honest, I think that that is oftentimes a problem. It creates ego and all this other things, but we put all of our money together. My God, we did. If anybody ever sees me in person, you can ask me about the details. Oh my God. But we put it together and we started to work. And I mean, from the ground up, and I guess it's the most American story you can imagine. We were out handing out flyers to people and saying, "Hey, here, come see me." And, our opening day, we were like, "We're going to do so much business." And we had three people walk through the doors and we're like, "Oh my God, it's the worst. We're idiots. We're all so dumb." But perseverance allowed us to continue. And as we pushed forward, there was some real growth, and we started to be able to duplicate a couple things and fine tune a couple things and figure out sort of a workflow and develop better recipes and learn about what actually matters and starting to delve into what real KPIs are. And so there's a steep learning curve that happens. Well, a very transparent person, like I've had multiple businesses where I've had to, okay, I learned this. Well, time for the next, time for the next. And so in that, this is the fourth iteration, and this is the one that is creating the community that I wanted. And, we sat down and had these long conversations sometimes, me and four other guys, and we would contemplate what we wanted to create in the world and what we thought of. And we dreamed of yachts and mansions, and we had conversations about how many people we're going to affect and how many folks are going to have a healthier life and how we're going to work out and we're going to do this thing and that thing. And it happens in a very organic but intentional way. But as I as I went through my first business, we sort of split ways, and that led me to my next venture. And that was me working with a couple of partners, and it didn't work out so well. Like you have these growing pains, and I know what an operations agreement is now. But from there, I found another strategy, and I said, okay, cool. There's another location that I can look at. And in that one, I spent time and built some community, and I saved all my pennies and dollars. And finally we got to a place where I was like, okay, cool. It's time to move. We need a bigger venue. And I'll tell you, this is the most amazing thing. I don't know what the faith of the people who are watching this is, but my girlfriend is a steadying force for me. I went and flew back and forth to South Carolina initially, and I wanna say something along the lines of 60 realtors, and one of them got back with me, showed me a bunch of properties I was not interested in at all. They were all terrible. None of them fit the vibe or space or what we were trying to create, and I remember talking to her about how difficult this was, and she said, "Maybe that's God telling you that's not the place." And I said, "Oh my God, let me not be hard-headed." And she pulls out a map and she goes, "Where would you go? Where would you go?" And I say, "Well, Missouri seems cool. My dad's there. I'd get to have a better relationship with him." And, you know, sh it's incredible. She calls one person, one person. He goes, "Yeah, I got a space. It's not on the market yet. Nobody knows about it. You want it?" I mean, within 15 minutes, I'm like, Okay, all right, like, let's do this thing." And so that kind of encapsulates like faith, obedience, like being aware and not being so hard headed and stubborn is actually what allowed us to get into this space, into this place, and start to build this community.
What a great story. Now, the choice to come here obviously was somewhat contingent upon your dad being here. Is he literally in Branson?
He actually lives in Kansas City,
Kansas
but
City. Okay. My dad lives in Kansas City as well. So I understand that.
huh,
He's going to be 90 years old here in October.
right
And
on.
yeah, he's still living on his own, doing his thing.
Let's
So
go, Pop.
yeah, go pop. But the bottom line is, yeah, the selection when I moved here as well 11 years ago, it was, I knew God was moving to get me here, for various reasons. And sometimes we just don't know. Now, the space that you had picked out for you basically at that point, was it already a food service venue or
Yes,
did you have to
actually.
design it?
Yeah, it was actually already a food service venue. So we're right next door to Noodle 21. It was previously Dessert 21, and through some very, very blessed interactions, we were able to see the space, find the space, and we haven't. The crazy thing is, like more than anything, what we had to do was make it brighter, but we haven't had to do too terribly much. I mean, we've added a little bar and seating area where people can sit down, and we've definitely decorated and done a lot. But we're currently this is maybe news to some of you guys. We're currently working on another location. And I will say that this process, the first one was it's like children. The first one's so easy and you're like, whoa, and then you're like, I got this down. And the second one is it's a little bit more challenging, but nonetheless worthwhile. But yeah, we came in and the space was there. We didn't really have to do very much design. My girlfriend is amazing and she's done a lot just to help me in general. Uh, and I couldn't do this without her. Like she's great.
So, quick question to fill in the gap. Why were you going to South Carolina? Was that where she was?
No. That's where I was looking at locations. And so I was
Was that
thinking,
Myrtle
"Hey,
Beach? Were you looking at Myrtle Beach up there? I
man, I
see the hat.
wish. I wish."
Okay,
I was actually looking at, Greenville because according to the numbers, it was one of the fastest growing areas in the US at the time. It's a very high GDP and obviously know your numbers, right? That's one of those things that you learn as a consummate business professional. You want to know your numbers. So we were looking at per capita, we were looking at GDP growth, we were looking at what our demographics were, what the ratio of men to women is, what age ranges they are, where the really nice neighborhoods are, the people who can actually work with us and be a part of our community in a valuable way. And like these are all decisions that we're trying to make and to really look into very deeply to say, hey, you know what, this makes the most sense business wise. As we when we pivoted to Branson, what was really interesting is looking at the numbers and saying, oh, population size swells during the summer. Oh, that's fantastic because summer's already going to be great time for us. I mean, most people are wanting to get in the gym and get their bodies right and learn and take care of themselves. And so we went over all those same numbers and the numbers came back well. So we're like, okay, cool. This makes sense.
cool. And all right, well, that fills in that gap for at least in my mind. I was just
Yeah,
curious
yeah.
how that fit into it. And then, so how has Squeezy evolved from the original opening as far as your offerings? Have they changed? Have you adopted some new things as you've grown? What have you seen happening with your overall? I'm thinking product line, and you talked about the venue a little bit. You've added some seating spaces, etc. But how has the business itself changed? Has there been a change in it over the last 3 years?
So we've stayed pretty true to form. Now, I will say that like one of the really cool things is we started offering waffles, like protein waffles. So like we make those fresh in house in front of everybody. So like you can literally watch us make your food. So that's a really fun thing as far as products go. That's one of the big changes. But the most changes have happened actually tangentially to the space. So building community and like starting to get people into the habit of one of the big things for me is health and fitness. So getting people to come and hang out with me, go to the gym with me, and sort of working my way around the fitness community in the area. So that would be, I think, the biggest change is like people are like, oh yeah, like that guy does this, but also I have like a group of people where I'm like, hey, like you know me from working out with me, you know me from working on your meal plan, or you know me from fixing your macros or talking to you about your health, or like, hey, you know what, I recently saw this study and this told me this and it tells me that, and that sort of thing. So as we're moving forward, creating a space tangential to Squeezy itself, where people are comfortable in communicating and building community around fitness itself. So that'd be the biggest thing that we've really started to do, the tangential side. One other thing is that like we've started to work with our community a little bit more. So like for teachers during the school year, we do deliveries for the teachers. So like I send out whatever they need, and we might give them a small discount because I have a really soft spot for teachers. I can't help it. Okay. But trying to give the people what they need and what they want and make things a little easier for them. So when school year starts up again, all those teachers out there, if you drop me a line, we'll make sure to take care of you.
That's awesome. And when you come up with a protein cinnamon roll, let my wife know because she'll be over there every day.
Okay. Now I want you to remember you said that because your pocket's gonna hurt a little bit.
She's hardcore on that. It's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
that's awesome. And I bet those waffles make the place smell really, really good,
It
don't they?
is heavenly. Absolutely. It's really funny because as soon as I make one, the next person I have come in, they go, "It smells so good in here. What is that?" Also, we do have a cinnamon roll waffle, so
We
just
do.
saying. We do.
Okay. Well, I'll have to talk to her about that and say, well, and that is protein too, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. So the whole fitness thing, it's really become, I actually have lost almost 40 pounds in the last 3 months on the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I basically order from my grass-fed beef through Butcher Box, and that's what I eat, and people are like, that's all you eat? And I go, it's amazing, and not to get too deep into it, but basically it works, right? And I'm seeing that more and more. In fact, I just interviewed and am bringing have you ever been to the Faith and Business breakfast?
I'm not.
Okay, I'll invite you next month. It's the third Tuesday down at Keeter Center here in Branson, and then also in Springfield. It's the second Tuesday, and that's normally we have about 400 to 500 people up there at Bass Pro Shop. So, but the thing is, I've got a guy. He just wrote "Your Plate Is Your Fate." He's a doctor up in Springfield. He's been at Cox South Hospital for 3 years, or excuse me, 30 years. He worked in that environment as a pharmacist, and now he's brought out this book. It's an Amazon bestseller, and so as people, I'm seeing this happen where there's obviously more and more protein promotion. The whole food pyramid has been flipped over,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
Recently. And so all the stuff that we were told was bad for us is now back at the top, right? And and tallow's starting to come back in the restaurants.
Mhm.
How I mean, obviously that's affecting you and you're in the mainstream of that part of it. Have you had clients talk to you about, hey, this is new, what's coming next, and that type of thing? Because I mean, you're right in the mainstream of that. And so I'm just excited to see or hear what you have to say about what's coming
Yeah.
next. What do you see coming?
So, realistically, think that we have to talk about trends and shifts if we have that conversation. And so one of the things that happens is, and I want to make this clear, people tend to hyperfixate on one thing or another. So I don't know if you remember this, but there was this gigantic movement where people were like, fats are bad. And just what the literature says is like we have these macronutrients. Those macronutrients are important. Like these are the things that our body generally likes to thrive on. And so seeing that and talking with clients, you find all kinds of different little things. And one thing that I'll say is nutrition and health are not one size fit all. Like realistically, you could have one person who has diabetic complications. You could have another person who has alpha gal. Like you can't give like one necessary prescription for all. However, and not that I can prescribe anything per se, but I try to stay informed on the literature. I try and stay up to date on what's happening in the world. What I see being as the future is fiber, to be completely honest. I don't know if you are familiar with the studies, but one of the biggest things that is happening right now is there's a lot of people with colorectal cancer. One of the reasons why is because we don't have an adequate amount of fiber in our diet as an American. And simply put, that makes it hard to push some things out. So I think that the big protein movement, it's fantastic. Just to say this as well, protein is incorporated in every system in your body. It's not just muscle. It's everything. Everything needs those amino acids to be structured and created. It's super important. The downside of things is like people are somewhat neglecting their fiber, and that's something that concerns me very greatly. But I think that that'll be the future of what we're doing. Not to mention for all those folks out there who like to shed a couple pounds in the summer, fiber's your best friend, soluble and insoluble. You need them both. They're really good for you. They help you stay fuller for longer. They help you to to get all that bad stuff out, and also your body, I just needs it. It needs it to keep working properly and to feed your gut microbiome so that you can feel the best you possibly can. After fiber, I would say that fats are making a really big resurgence, which is also super important for those of you that are listening who might want to take a couple notes. Fat is very important for your vitamin absorption. A lot of vitamins are fat soluble, and if you don't have enough fat in your diet, you sort of hamper your ability to absorb and ingest and use those things. So as far as I'm concerned, it looks like to me the macros are making a massive comeback and people are starting to really understand a little bit better how food works and how it affects you and how it affects your body.
Very good, very good. Well, you're talking my language there. And can I ask you, so when you put in the I think don't you use do you use capsules for adding different components to the drinks, or how do you, like, if somebody wants to have a booster of something, are they typically in capsules, or how does that work?
It depends on the booster itself. So like some of it's powdered, some of it's like a little tablet. Like it just depends on the one that they're asking for. Like there's even probiotics. We have some fiber as well. Like it's just powdered. We throw it right in there. Tastes like nothing. Like it's easy. But yeah, uh, it's measured out, it's weighed out. We just whoop right there. It's done.
Cool, cool. Well, my mind goes back to Jamba Juice. Okay, so you're probably familiar with Jamba Juice
Yeah.
in California. I worked in California for a number of years, and our thing was we always hit Jamba Juice at least one time on our 3-day tour there at our facility. Anyway, so I love that. So it reminded me, I knew they mostly used the capsule thing. Have you seen where, like, if you're adding, like, do you have greens? Do you have something where you add greens
Yeah,
to
actually
drinks?
we do.
Okay,
So we have a greens product. It has like spirulina, monk fruit, elderberry. It's really nice. It doesn't have a huge amount of sugar or anything like that either, which is nice.
very good. And when you source that, I'm guessing that's a whole food type thing, right? With the spirulina and all that, right?
Yeah, it's all from the same company that we use, so, like, no problem there. But, what I think is really interesting is that, and this is my entire goal. People are learning, and so my goal, rather than to replace anything, is just to offer a healthier option. So for a lot of folks, what winds up happening is they're like, "Hey, man, I got 15 minutes before I gotta get to work. What can I do?" And let's be honest, we're all adults here. McDonald's starts looking real good when there's nothing else to eat. And, it's funny because, you look at that and you go, "Well, it's not that bad." In a vacuum, I guess not. But, you have 15 minutes here, you have 15 minutes there, and next thing you know, you think about it, and you're like, "Well, what did I eat today?" "Oh, well, I had a biscuit and I had a hamburger. Alright. I'm not feeling so great today."
Yeah,
But, what we have to offer is genuinely, like, just a better option, you know? I can say that there's 9 grams of sugar, there's 9 carbs, you got 24 grams of protein, we've got a little B vitamin and caffeine that you can have, like, stevia sweetened, so there's not a ton of sugar, just making life as simple as possible. People are returning to Whole Foods, which is also awesome. Like, hey, like, I don't have a problem with that. I love that. Like, I want you to eat good food, like, whenever you have the chance. But if you don't, I'm here.
that's awesome. What in your menu, give us an idea of what are some of your most popular items, and what do the repeat customers come in for?
So I would definitely say that the cinnamon roll is super popular.
Okay.
Also, the brownie batter. So we use like a zero sugar syrup and we use dark chocolate chips. So not a ton, just enough to give you a little bit of a feel like you're doing something you shouldn't. And as far as our teas, our drinks go, people really, really, really like the Jolly Rancher. And it has a little bit of magnesium and potassium in there to help you rehydrate. So like that one's a big, big deal for us. But if you guys are ever curious about what we have going on, always check our Instagram, always check our Facebook, because we're constantly posting on there about what we have and what's going on, and we've got new flavors. We change our menu every month, to do a different theme. So right now it's anime month. So for all my nerds out there, enjoy. We've got lots of flavors inspired by some of our favorite anime. And yeah, we also do have our regulars. So like sorry, one more, a Sour Patch Kid, like that one's big, big deal. Got that sweet sour kinda thing, and it's also for hydration, got the magnesium and potassium in there. So yeah, those are some of our really big ones. If you decide to swing by, like, definitely say you can't go wrong with those.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I watched the success finally of Vintage Paris. Are you familiar with Vintage Paris?
Yes.
And the environment they could. That place had, since I've lived here, I think there was two or three businesses in there, and now they've hit the gold mine in that super relaxed, coffee shop environment, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And in your new venture, are you going to replicate what you have now, or do you see it being a little bit different in its appeal, or what are you thinking there?
It'll be slightly different. We always wanna keep that fun, quirky vibe, like, that's signature to us, and so it'll be down here in Nixa, which is super exciting for us. That said, things will be slightly different. I mean, no 2 are exactly the same, and I don't really think a corporate feel suits what we're trying to do. We want community. We want community that's specific to the area that we're in, and we want people to feel like they have a space that matters. When I was a kid, I grew up in Houston. There was it's a crazy life,
Big, yeah, that's a big town right there. Yeah.
man. But as a kid, I grew up in Houston, and I remember that there's these barber shops, and there was this one barber shop where I knew the owner. I walked in, I'd see him every day. His name's Saul. He's a great guy, and he could cut my hair the same way every time. And I say, I want this. He said, I know what you want. I got you. And then there's this little burger spot that was 15 feet away, and you could walk over to it and you could sit down, you could grab a burger. And the guy behind the grill had been there for 40 years. And there was something about that that was so special. It was our community, it was our people, it was folks that had been a pillar of the community for so long. And I think that that's really what we're all chasing, legacy
Yes.
and creating something that matters to the people in the area that we are in.
Very good. And in fact, I was just in the 417 Mill Market the other night. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what a great place to hang out,
Yes.
really.
Yes.
Just especially when there's live music going down. One of my friends does live music there. Actually, two of my friends do live music there on occasion, and so that's awesome. And Nick's is just a great place. And I do have a real estate license as well. And I think I'm putting in an offer in a house today in Clever, which is just outside of Nixa there. So they'll be wanting to come in and visit your new place once you get that established. Not to reveal too much secrets, but do you see that happening this before the end of the summer, or do you have a kind of a time frame in mind?
Ideally, yes, before the end of the summer. So, like I said, the first location was so easy. And this one is it's been a little challenging, but I do have faith that we were brought here to this area for a reason and that we will love people and we will be able to get open fairly soon. I'm hoping and praying that within a month or so we'll be able to say, hey, you know what, we're up, we're rocking, we're rolling. So
Awesome.
that's where I am on that process right now, and the city has been very, very gracious with me. So shout out to all those Knicks officials. You may never see this, but if you do, thank you for not being jerks, guys. I really appreciate it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, is it going to be under the same name? Will it be Squeezy as
No,
well?
no. So
No,
this will be called the Main.
the main.
The Main.
No kidding.
Yep.
MAIN, huh? All
Yes,
right.
sir. And our,
Awesome.
our Instagram handle for that one is Main Squeeze. So Guys, you can follow along and see what's happening at that location. We've been posting things here and there, and we slowed down a little bit because we ran into a couple snafus, and we had a little plan, and it changed a little bit. But you know what? That's the journey, and that's the fun. And I invite you guys to be a part of that with us because we don't do anything in isolation. Community is how we do this thing, and I would love for more people to be a part of this story.
That's awesome. All right. Well, give us the vital statistics on how we can find you. Give us the address of the location in Branson, first of all. Where's that
So
address?
that is 2001 State Highway 248, Suite 3, and that's in Branson, Missouri. We are right next door to Noodle 21 in Gretna Plaza. If you guys ever want to find me, type in Squeezy, Squeazy. We'll pop up. We're the only one that spells it like that.
That's awesome. And so it's just if you're coming into town, a lot of people know that there's that right-hand turn where you have to turn on 248 to continue instead of going on to Gretna Road. You guys are right there near that
Hmm.
intersection there. So people can kind of know just past what is the new there's a new escape room right there
I
right
think that is
across
that Masters of Escape. Is that what
Masters
it
of
is?
Escape, yeah, going down there. So you make a fun night of it down on 248. And then do you want to give out, is there an email address or a website address you'd like to share with us as well?
Yeah, so I'll give out the email. It's easy, EASY, peasy, PEASY, nutrition 2022 at gmail.com. So if ever you guys want to email me or you have any questions, or maybe you guys just want to talk and pick my brain a little bit, I'm available. I do tend to respond fairly quickly.
Awesome. Awesome. And then, do you have a landing website at all?
We do not have a website for
Okay.
that at this time, although we may be working on that very soon. But
If you need some
usually you
help with
can
that, I know somebody. I know a guy.
fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
Usually
yeah.
we're on socials though, so, just look us
Well,
up, Facebook, Insta, TikTok, all of it.
yeah, I mean, that's where it's happening, right? That's where
Mhm.
the folks are looking and that type of thing. So, Sean, this has been a terrific pleasure interviewing you for this, and I'm so excited to hear what the Lord has done and blessing you and growing your business. And so, maybe we'll have you on again when the next location opens. We'd love to interview you about that and kind of find out more and hopefully make it to your ribbon cutting up there. You going to join the chamber up there?
I think we will. I think we
Okay,
will.
that'd be cool. All right.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I am so grateful for the opportunity to share these things with you. Paul, like, it's been a pleasure.
Same here. All right. Take care now.
Take care. Bye-bye.